Hello, everyone, and welcome to A New Direction. My name's Jay Izzo, and oh man, another great show for you today. Everybody watching us live, hey, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you. Give us a thumbs up, a like, wherever it may be. You're doing this. Twitter, folks on X. Sorry, I called it Twitter. Folks on X, give us a little love. Could use a little love. You're watching us live on Twitter right now. You're watching us live on LinkedIn. You're watching us live on 3 channels on Facebook. You're watching us on Twitch. Give us a little love. Say hello. Ask your questions. Jill Robin Payne is going to be joining us today. We're going to be talking about something that I know you all have heard of. It's called Bempathy. Oh, you haven't. Oh, I see. You haven't heard of Bempathy. Oh, okay. So let's just imagine, if you will, and I don't know if you've ever been through this. Have you ever been through times in your life with people where there's conflict? And maybe that's not happened to you, but I'm pretty sure it probably has at least once, right? And it probably, if it hasn't happened to you yet, it will happen to you where you're having to deal with some sort of conflict, right? How do you deal with that in a way, that actually turns out to be a win-win for both parties? Can you do it? See, that's the thing about Bempathy. See, Bempathy is a combination of banter and empathy. Bempathy. There's going to be a lot of B words today. We're going to be introduced to a lot of people whose names starts with the B. I may even change their names to Jill Robin Payne, and I'll be Bay, and this is a Babu Direction. That may be what we do today. We just throw out all the B's out there today. No, the book is not a long read. It's a very short, quick read, but it is power-packed with fun little information and a guide to how we can handle conflict in our lives and in our businesses. And so we're gonna have a lot of fun with Jill today. And so let me do this. I'm going to introduce you to Jill Robin Payne. All right. She is a licensed professional counselor, supervisor, and licensed chemical dependency counselor who is also certified in equine-assisted psychotherapy. If you listen, I know about this equine-assisted psychotherapy. I have many friends who are combat veterans, have struggled with PTS. I don't like dealing with the D. I don't think it's a disorder. It's just a reality of what it is. Right. And they use a lot of equine-assisted psychotherapy. I'm a big fan. During her over 40 years of work experience, she's taught college level behavior modification. I have too. Taught it college level. Behavior mod, yeah. Psych 410, NC State. You remember that? I was teaching that. Is an author who continues managing a diverse practice. She's heard on all social media outlets, plus local and national radio, television stations, numerous magazines, newspapers, commenting on the intersection of current events and social psychology. See, she's just busy. Another B word. Jill's practice is devoted to advancing the notion that seeking advice for mental health is as important as seeking advice for physical health. Could not agree more. She developed a concept that she copyrighted and trademarked as, what do we say? Bempathy, which represents a unique approach to communication and social skills, combining banter and empathy to build and maintain harmonious reciprocal relationships. Her passion is to spread the goodness. I love that. Using the synergy of mind, body, and Bempathy concept she developed. Extremely versatile, as you could tell. She's been a parade grand marshal. She's met a U.S. president in a rose garden. Published author. She's been contracted by pain clinics, hospitals, programs, you just name it, she's done it. And you know what? This book is just recently published, at least her latest work on Bempathy. And it's actually 2 books, I think, the series. And she lives in Houston, Texas, where she has a private practice, lives with her husband. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Welcome to the first time ever on A New Direction, and hopefully not your last, I hope. Jill Robin Payne, welcome to a show.
Thank you, Jay. This is a wonderful being here. And of course, who doesn't like hearing about themselves? You just in my head.
Yeah, that's okay. There was a lot more. I cut out a whole bunch because there's a lot more about you all over the place. By the way, so people check out Jill Robin Payne. Matter of fact, that's the name of her website, jillrobinpayne.com. And Payne is spelled Payne. So check out Jill Robin Payne. In an introduction of this book, again, not very long, but powerful. Empathy, a process of bantering with empathy. Right. I think people are going to say, Okay, what do we mean by bantering with empathy? Can you expand on that for us a little bit to give us a little more clarity?
I sure can. And it's really interesting. There was a little article in the Wall Street Journal just recently about a neuroscientist that has finally come up with a research that chit chat is really healthy for you and automatically connects you. It gets your brain to synchronize with each other. And so what Bempathy is, it's banter with empathy. Well, bantering is the chit chat with something that we're forgetting in our society, Jay,
Mhm.
a little bit of humor.
Yeah.
And we're really wanting, I'm right, you're wrong. And so the banter is something that we are missing in the world with the younger people, and we need to practice it. And so the empathy, there's two types. There's cognitive. Well, you know this, you
I know
study psychology.
I studied right along with you. I got it.
Right. So,
But not everybody out there does. So let's.
no, right. So there's two types of empathy. There's cognitive, and then there's of course emotional. And if you do emotional, which we did a lot during COVID, a lot of the therapists just bled and they just were an empty milk carton. So really, when you're doing Bempathy, it's more doing it cognitively, realizing where that person's coming from and seeing that person's, just like what my book says, the third side of the coin, and being able to share their experiences and feelings and relate with them. And when you do Bempathy, the first thing you do, instead of opening your mouth, you empathize. And so that you try to find what commonality you have with that person. You know what we do? We focus on the negativity bias. So in Bempathy, what do? You do the opposite. You focus on the positive, or what you have in common with that person that is fun, that is interesting, that you can expand on. And that's really how Bempathy is. So you have a mindset of win-win.
Yeah. Here's what I want to ask you. And
Yes.
I know it's not part of the book, at least not formally part of the book.
Not yet.
It's part of the book, but not formally.
Right.
And that is, in the business situation, right?
Yes. Right.
And you have your CEOs, or you have your leaders or whatever, and then you have
Right.
managers and employees, right? And I know there's water cooler talk, right? There's chit chat,
Yes.
right?
Right.
How do we bridge this, if you can? Or let's try bridging this for the CEO talking to an employee or a manager where there's a little conflict. How do we get the chit chat, the banter, and how do we get them up to speed on the cognitive empathy?
Right. First of all, you don't want to wham bam them if they haven't been doing it. And so you want to do it step by step. And again, you want to find things that you have in common. Now it depends. Are they doing hybrid? Are they doing virtual work? Are they in office? Now they're starting to come back to the office. And the difference with nowadays, Jay, is that a lot of the people are working from home. So they're missing that chatter in the office. The hi, how are you? How was your weekend? They're missing the thing when they go to get their coffee or their water, things like that. So because of that, we need to put more of an effort in it, having 1 month meetings. And when you do that and you're doing a virtual meeting, if you're not going to do it in person, I highly recommend 1 month at least in office. You do the same thing. So for instance, you're sitting there, I'm sitting here, let's all have coffee. Or let's all do some type of activity that you're doing the same activity as me. And so that way we can at least mirror what we're doing and we're feeling it. And that gives us a connection. And then you build on that. And getting back to people that are CEOs and managers and getting them to be all on the same wavelength is you need to talk their language. So they're being respectful, and CEOs are going to think a little bit differently than a manager, and managers are going to think a little bit differently than an employee that's on the lower totem pole. Doesn't mean we're not all equal, because people are really, so everybody has different mindsets. So you have to get something that's going to get them together. And that's you just do some type of activity that they all can relate to. So it depends on what business it is. If
Right.
it's medical, you do something medical. You get an eyeball and you all talk about the eyeball. Or if it's oil.
That sounds like an intro to psych course when we brought the brain out. Yeah. Okay. So we can do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just having fun with it.
Yeah.
Here's where I think, when I think through Bempathy and
Yes.
the banter, the chit chat, right,
Yeah.
and the connection,
Right.
there is an element here of active listening that has to be employed, and it has to be so intentional. As I read through the book, the one of the things that I pulled from the book was you can't just come up, you just can't talk.
Right.
You have to really listen to what the other person's saying. That's not easy for us to do.
Especially nowadays, when I was sitting here waiting for you and it was only a moment, I have my cell phone hidden because seriously, if your cell phone is out, do you know you pay more attention to the cell phone, they've done studies, than the person you're talking to?
Yeah.
And I want you to know, and I have been complaining to my husband to get off the internet, sitting here for 3 to 5 minutes. It was not more than that. And I said, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to be. It was very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to have everyone practice 1 minute, 1 minute of just being with themselves.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
People don't understand how long a minute is.
It's a long time.
It's a long time.
It's a long time.
And if you're sitting on a phone right now,
Yes.
it could be a long time doing that. I think this is the thing about being present in the conversation.
Right. Yeah.
That you make a point of with our 3 stars, Beacon, Brighton, and Bo.
Yes.
By the way, Bo is the name of the dog, which it's a great dog. But I think one of the things is about, you have to be present. And so often, in the business world, but even in life, we're thinking about where we're trying to go, right? This is the goal of the conversation, and I'm trying to get there, and I'm not really having a conversation with you. I'm not really listening to what you say. I'm simply trying to get to the goal that I want to achieve in the conversation.
Right.
Pulling that back for us. Do you have any helpful handy tips?
I'm so glad you brought that up, Jay. Yes, the mindset is very important. So you're right. It's natural. Just letting everybody know out there, it's natural to think about, what am I going to say next?
Right.
And that's how come I say the first step, it's 3 steps. So you're going to start with empathy, you're going to respond with banter, and you're going to focus on a win-win conversation. So if I'm focusing on a win-win, then I am really going to listen intently to see, again, what do I have in common with you? And when I find what I have in common with you, then I can add to it and we can become more comfortable together. So, and you read the book, so there's the 6 C's, and I don't even want to go through the 6 C's. Basically,
we will, but it'll be another segment of the show.
It'd be another segment because it takes a while. So it's really it's a mindset. Bempathy is a reciprocal communication. When I say reciprocal, that means it's not just about me, even though my husband will tell you, I love it always to be about me. Right. It needs to be about us, we, and our. So everybody could put that out there right now. Just put us, we, and our. Yeah. And if you have that mindset, it's going to be a win-win, because if I'm with you, Jay, let's just say we're doing our I'm doing your podcast with you, and I don't know, you get mad at me or something, or something happens, heaven forbid, and the conversation that we're having, a discussion, you lose in the conversation and I win. The podcast doesn't win. We don't win. Our relationship doesn't win. So it's a mindset, it's perception. If I perceive that the raininess outside is beautiful and you think it's crappy, it's perception. Neither one of us is wrong.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think there's Carol Dweck, Dr. Carol Dweck, who wrote Mindset. Some people may see the book on my bookshelf here, on growth mindset. She spent a lot of time, but she also, dives into a little bit the open mindset versus closed mindset.
Right.
And I think what you're describing so clearly here is, and Dr. Ryan Goffredson talked about it in his book, Success Mindsets, and that was soft front, stiff back. Means you don't have to compromise, but you've got to be willing to listen.
Right.
And you've got to be open to it, right? Because we can't grow the relationship. We can't grow past our differences if we're not open. And that openness is just going to be required for us to get to Bempathy.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's really important. Here's the thing that I thought was, I just want to give people a little bit of scientific background. People who watch this show for the last 8 years know that I'm a science geek. I'm a stats geek. Here's the thing. She interviewed for 30 years, more than 5,000 clients to come up with this. Right? Am I accurate on that?
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. Right. And then she's taken it in this little book, Bempathy, and has really made it fun read. I'm telling you, you're going to be able to read it just like that, but it's really full of power. I really do recommend you pick it up, enjoy the story, right? It's okay to enjoy a story. It really is. But then what she does at the end of the book is she breaks it down into the 6 C's and how they work and operate. And we're going to talk about 6 C's after the next break, and we're going to dig into those. But I just really want to encourage you to all who are listening and watching from all over. And Jay Pulslap, thanks for watching. But I really do encourage you to really take a look at this book, because I think you're going to really like it. Let's chat about how we look at conflict specifically through the lens of Bempathy. So when we look at conflict, right, we've got a conflict out there, regardless of what the conflict is.
Right.
We have a conflict there. Do we look at that conflict differently now? Do we look at it as, is it a mountain? Is it an insurmountable problem? How do we look now at any conflict that we look at once we understand Bempathy clearer?
So I'm going to give an example of what just happened with me on the phone with a friend of mine who's a lawyer, does very well. And anyway, long story short, I called him up because I want to do some stocks. Just play with it, put a dollar here, a dollar there. Nothing big. I'm a psychotherapist. Right. And because I see so much psychology going on, I don't look at the politics. I look at the psychology of it. Yeah. So he's a lawyer. He was looking at the political part. Right. And we were talking, and I made a comment, and right away I could hear, this is on the phone, I could hear in his voice, I have to go. I have to get a phone call. The senator's on the phone. Somebody. Okay. And so I said, oh, okay. And he said, I'll call you back. I said, right. So he does. He calls me back because I knew that he was not mad at me. Mm-hmm. He was upset with the dynamics of the situation. And that's also Bempathy. We don't look at the person. We look at the dynamics. When I have couples come into my office, never once do I blame a husband, a wife. It's the dynamics, because if you've read my book, which you have, there's something called the map of reflection. We are in the center of our world. And if we are not in our world, there's no our world. Okay. And action creates reaction. I thought I invented that. No, it's Newton's law. Can you believe that? Newton's the one.
Who knew?
So because of that, it's not what we're taught a long time ago in psychology. We have more control than people think, because if action creates reaction and someone's yelling at me and I decide to act differently, I am going to get a different reaction. It's a fact. Newton, go look up Newton. So getting back to my friend, and he called me back. What I did is I literally stepped back, and that's in my first Bempathy book. I stepped back emotionally. not physically. I was on the phone. You could still step back physically also,
Right.
because there's the situation. And I listened to him and let him talk. And during that time, I thought about, so I was thinking, what could I find in common with him about this situation that I knew he was upset about, and twist it. And I shouldn't use the word twist, and make it, like I do with my clients, to be more rational and in a positive note, if it can be. And I did. And we ended up laughing at the end of our conversation, because I took that time. A lot of us don't have time anymore. We're just rushing. I don't know what we're doing. We're rushing to die. I mean, we're just rushing. I got to get that phone. I got to go to the job. I got to go. I mean, it's like, what are we rushing for? We're just rushing all over there. So we need to take a minute, take that minute, the 60 seconds, and you just don't know what you'll find out if you just take that breath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her name is Jill Robin Payne. The book is Bempathy. Simplify communication by looking at the third side of the coin. See, you're not looking at the edge. I know you're not. You're listening to or here on A New Direction. Hey, folks, sponsors. Let's talk about it. Zoundy, game changer for authors, publishers, and professionals in the audio book space. I use Zoundy. Let me tell you what's different than any other audio platform when it comes to your audio books. First of all, I can give my book away for free to anybody. My Audible book. So like if I'm speaking at an event, which I'm going to be doing, and there's going to be hundreds of people there, I'm going to have a special code that everybody can download my book. Here's the best part. When they download my book, I'll have their email address and I can start interacting with the reader, or the listener in this case. Yeah. How cool is that? That I can bounce ideas off them. What did you like about the book? What didn't you like about the book? What would you like to see me write next? And I have this audience. So whether you're launching your first book or first audiobook or scaling a catalog or got marketing services, whatever it may be, listen, visit Zoundy.com. Don't just visit Zoundy.com. Do this. Go to Zoundy, ZOUNDY.com/J. Use my special code from A New Direction called J25. That's JAY25. You'll unlock special savings at Zoundy.com/J. Also, long time, first time ever sponsor here at Linda Craft Team Realtors. Got to be honest with you, they are the transition experts. Think about it, every place you've ever lived, life transition. They know how to take the stress out of it. And you know what? They've been doing it successful for 40 years. So look, when you're ready to sell or buy your home and you want to take the stress out of the transition, start with Linda Craft Team Realtors. It's really easy. LINDACRAFT.com. And we're back here on A New Direction with my friend, I get to call her friend, Jill Robin Payne. The book is entitled Bempathy, Simplify Communication by Looking at the Third Side of the Coin. Let's go to chapter 1, because we haven't really talked about chapter 1 at all, but we should, because it's really, really an important chapter. So Bempathy has 6 key elements, and you call them the 6 C's. Right. And I think it's really interesting, and I'd like to dig into them just a little bit, if you don't mind, in this section.
Well, you want to dig into all of it? Okay.
Yeah, no, I would. Yeah, because, we talk about, communication, right, as part of the 6 C's. But what do you see, or what do you mean when you say Bempathy and communication is part of the 6 C's? So when you say it as part of Bempathy, what does communication mean in this interest as the first of the 6 C's?
I love that you asked me that, because I was just talking to my husband the other day about it, that innate objects communicate to us. So I'm sitting in a chair right now, and I changed my chair, by the way. So this chair does not move, because the other chair moves and I move a lot. So if I sat in the other chair, I'd be going like, you'd be getting seasick, Jay. So I changed the chair because I wanted to have a great relationship with my chair. I wanted to communicate well to my chair, and I wanted the chair to communicate well to me. So believe it or not, we are constantly communicating. Innate objects, if you go to Japan or go to Asia, they'll tell you it gives off energy, and everything really is communicating to us. So that's the way I look at communication. We need to look at, again, the dynamics, so that if you were sitting here right beside me, Jay, we would be talking differently.
So
Just
true.
sit.
So true.
It's so true. If you were sitting beside me and your chair was a little bit higher than me, you would be talking differently to me.
Yeah.
The same as people that are driving trucks. I don't know if you've driven a truck. I have. And don't even drive beside me when I am in a truck.
No.
Because I have this powerful feeling.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about communication, it's bigger than us. Instead of blaming, we need to just look at our surroundings and look at us and see what is communicating to us, how is it affecting us, how is it affecting our situation. I think a long time ago with Gorbachev, before Reagan met with him or something to get the wall to be knocked down,
Yeah.
I think his wife, I couldn't find it in the newspaper, but it's telling my age. She made sure that it was by the fire, that they were cushiony seats, that the belly buttons weren't facing each other, the lights were dim. All these things affected everything. And so in Bempathy, we think about that. And look, you're thinking, there you go.
I am.
You're contemplating. There you go.
Well, yeah, because what you just said, and I know I'm guilty of it too.
Yes.
Is we all lack awareness in our own communication.
Right.
I mean, we're not taking all those things into account.
Especially when I talk to my husband.
My wife would say the same thing to me too. But you know what happens is we're not aware of everything, the environment, how we're communicating. We think that we just talk and listen and that's communication, but we're communicating a whole lot of things. And you are so correct here. How you and I interact.
Yes.
Because we're in two different places. You're in Houston, I'm in Raleigh.
Right.
And think about the Zoom calls, right? The Zoom meetings. That's a way different interaction than if we're all in the same room together.
Oh, yes, sure.
That communication is way different. And we are just so self-unaware of our communication. And if we're dealing with a problem or some sort of conflict, then we've got to consider all those elements as part of the communication process. And I know we don't. Right. I mean, we get amygdala hijacked. And right. We do. We get amygdala hijacked. And we throw every piece of awareness out the window.
Right.
And we don't even recognize what we're really communicating because we're just trying to make our point. Right. But it's we just got to get more self-aware with communication. God, that's so good.
So even when you're saying we need to get our point across, they've done I keep saying, because you're in psychology, that whenever we say something, there's an element of us in that saying. So we personalize it. So if I say, especially a compliment, I tell women, especially if someone gives you a compliment, please just thank them because that's their opinion. It's the same as if they give you an insult. We just don't like insults. It's just their opinion. It doesn't mean that you're any less anything. It's just their opinion. So
that's interesting. I was doing a presentation to a bunch of traders yesterday.
Oh wow.
And on mindset. And one of the people on the call said to me, "What do I do when someone insults me?" And he said, "Because I want to fight back." And I said to him, "What if he's right?" I mean, what if but think about it. What if the way you're presenting yourself is communicating that you are a jerk? Maybe the question you should ask is, how am I presenting myself that makes you see me that way? And rather than taking it as an insult, learn that perhaps maybe I'm presenting myself in a way, I'm communicating something that I don't even realize I'm communicating.
Sure.
And it's the same thing. Because when you say, it's really easy to take a compliment and we say thank you. Right. But you know what? Maybe we should say thank you too when we get an insult, because maybe we're presenting something that we need to correct. Right. And rather than see it as an insult, see it as a chance for growth.
So,
which is hard, by the way.
yeah.
Right? Go ahead. I know you got something to say there.
So, so I am a very positive therapist. And when people come in, I'm very solution focused. So that is a real reason why, one of the reasons I've gotten these books out. Even the first book, which was Meeting People, It's Not a Game, where I revamped it and it just came out, I think, last year. I even met my husband through that one, Meeting People, It's Not a Game, because I saw all these people that were single, and I read all these therapy books, and the therapy books that I read basically told me, well, if I do this, I should get that. And I would do this and I wouldn't get that. So I felt really defeated. So in my book, I say, everybody's great. There's millions of people out there for you. Maybe not millions, but there's many people out there for you, and that you don't need to really change. You just need to be tweaked. I tell people they're like that 1968 Camaro. My son used to have one. He wants one. He wants to get it again. He gave it away because they're so expensive to upkeep. 1968 Camaro. And you do not want to change that classic to a Mercedes because it wouldn't be the classic. So you want to keep it that 1968 Camaro. You might want to tweak it. You might want to align it. You might want to polish it up. You might want to tune it up. You do not want to change it. And so that is my philosophy when it comes to humans, because Jay, I'm loud. Sometimes I'm too much. My clients love me. I've been married once before. I've been married to this person for over 10 years, known him for 13 years. He loves me. He thinks I'm great. Now, in between my first marriage and now, people would say, gosh, Jill, you are so loud. You need to tone it down. Well, you know what? You can tone it down when that person marries you, Jay. How are you going to be? You're still going to be Jill. You're still going to be Jay.
Sure.
So you want that person to know you. Just, don't burp and fart in front of them right away. Right? Exactly. Right? You want to be yourself. You just want to tone it down a little. I have 3 brothers. So I just,
so good. That's
so,
by the way, first ever on A New Direction, burp and fart.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's beautiful. Go, great.
They probably bleeped it. I'm sorry. My husband would say, Jill, how can you do that?
That's awesome. I love the authenticity of it. I really do. I love the authenticity of it.
The point is, when we tell people to be authentic, Jay, it doesn't mean yelling and screaming at them. It doesn't mean, it means you want to be on your best.
Yeah.
Be authentic. So again, going on your side, my outlook is that there is a third side of the coin, and we are in this bubble now with these algorithms that we are turning into black and white thinking. And I do agree with you that when people say something, please take note.
Yeah.
Because that is their opinion. That's someone's opinion. Right. So, hey, you right?
It's their opinion, and it may be wrong, but I should at least look at it.
Exactly.
I should at least look at it and go, because in every criticism, my wife reminds me of this regularly. I love her for this. She said, in every criticism, there's a hint of truth. And I have to remind myself that, because she's so right. Matter of fact, she's so right about a lot of things. After almost 27 years together.
Oh, that's awesome.
I have to be honest with you. I use more of her lines than my own on this show. That's the truth. Yeah. I mean, because she always gives me some good ones. I want to move on to the second C. Not necessarily, but you have it listed as the second C.
Yeah.
Commonality. I'm making the assumption that we're looking at what do we have in common with each other. But in terms of overcoming the conflict, how do we got a conflict between each other, and whatever the situation is. Where's that bridge?
So what we as humans tend to do, because I'm letting you know, you can ask my husband. I love to get my point across. He says, Jill, you're like this. Okay. So sometimes, right? I'm like, you think I was from New York, right? So I have to step back. That's how come I came up with the Bempathy triangle. Some people literally have to step back. And if you were here, Jay, and I literally stepped back, you would feel the vacuum. Honest to God, you'd feel the vacuum. You would. And it would get you to go, oh, and that sort of gets people a little off. And when you get people a little off, you can maybe tweak the topic a little bit. maybe make it go in a different direction. It's like, if I'm going to California, the road's bumpy, I take a detour. I'm going to come back and still go to California. I'm just not going to take that road. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So
no, it does.
yeah. What happens though, when we get, so like I told you, I get like this, we get so focused that we get tunnel vision, and we think we can only get our point across with these words, with this tone, with this direction. No. And matter of fact, who said you need to get that point across at that minute? Can't you come back the next day? Could you wait 5 minutes? Could you go to the bathroom? Could you go get a drink of water? I mean, who said that we have to get that point across right then? I have it in my first book, The No Have To Principle. The only thing we have to do is die. And it's so sad. Yeah.
That's so funny. I'm sorry. The only thing we have to do is die. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
And then welcome to the funeral home.
Yeah. So you don't even need to be nice to me, right? We just think of consequences. We think, you wanted this to be successful. Tell Jill, don't use those words anymore next time I have you on. So, right? Yeah, that's okay.
Here's the thing I think about the commonality piece that I was just thinking about as you were discussing it.
Yes.
And that is, we live in this binary world.
Yes.
Ones and zeros. It's all black and white, right? It just seems like the media does it. Every place out, it's black and white. We can't.
Right.
The truth is, you and I, we all live in the gray area.
Yeah.
Right? We all do. We all live in gray.
Yeah.
We don't live our lives binarily. It's not ones and zeros or black and white. That's not how we live our lives. We live our lives by the gray.
Right.
We've got to, folks, people, listen to both of us.
Right.
We have got to find the gray area between us. I think that's the thing I'm hearing screaming at me in my earpiece here is we got to find the gray area.
Right.
And that's where the commonality comes in.
Right. So may I say one thing?
Yeah, of course you can.
So there's a joke that I would tell before I would speak, and I haven't said it in a long time, so I don't know if I can say it. Okay. I'm probably not going to say it right. How many psychotherapists does it take to change a light bulb?
I don't know. How many?
It takes one. The light bulb has to want to change. I said it. I can't believe I haven't said it in a while. So people need to want to do it. Right. And if they don't want, or they're not ready, what is that saying? The teacher will appear when the student is ready. Isn't that?
Yeah.
Right. And that's why when all these books, and I think my Bempathy is great, and it really does work. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. Yeah. One thing about my Bempathy, and it's about all the books I have. There's not just one way. You take some of Bempathy and you say, oh, well, what would work with Joe? What would work with Jim? You take a little of it and then you tweak it and you use your personality, your background, and then you utilize the knowledge in the book and see how can it work for you.
Let's do one real quick here before break.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do the next. Let's do connectedness.
Okay.
Because we got commonality. We got it. We got communication.
Yes.
Got it. What do you mean by connectedness?
So, well, think of a bridge. So
I'm seeing commonality as kind of a bridge, but now you're saying connectedness. That's the distinction. Help me understand that distinction.
So I say that this goes together. You can have them all individually. If you think about it, when you communicate commonality, then you feel connected.
So it's kind of like puzzle links that are all linked together.
Right.
That create the whole.
Exactly. So now go ahead.
Well, I was going to just say, like you and I are having this conversation, right? And we've got things in common. I mean, we're both psychology people, and and we have this form of communication that seems to work really well. And that creates more of a connectedness between us. So that's how I'm seeing it, but maybe I've got it wrong.
You're exactly right. Also, you don't need to have the commonality because you know about emotional contagion. So, okay, they even have found and done research, Jay, that social media does emotional contagion.
Right.
Surprise, right? So if I'm in the same room with you, I am going to connect with feelings. I may connect with whatever feeling that you're having. I might start mirroring you.
Right.
So I'm not even trying to find commonality. It just sort of happens. So you're shaking your head, I'll shake my head. You rubbed your face, I might go like this.
Right.
And it can be unconsciously, it can be consciously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now the emotional contagion is real.
It is. Oh, yeah.
What we bring into the room spreads.
Look at the stock markets.
No,
Look at the stock market right now. That's emotional
contagion.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, listen. The book is entitled "Empathy: Simplified Communication" by looking at the third side of the coin. We're having a lot of fun. At least I am. I can't speak for Jill, but Jill Robin Payne, author of this second book in the series, Bempathy. She's outstanding. The book's outstanding. She's got a lot of stuff out there. You need to really check her out. It's Jill Robin Payne, PAYNE.com. You're listening to her here on A New Direction. Hey, folks, Zoundy, I can't talk about them enough. Love them. Do you know, whether you're an author or a publisher, listen, do you know that you as an author or publisher, your publishers, do you know that Zoundy can set up special codes to give away audiobooks any way that you want to do it? So like I have a special code from Zoundy to give away my books on Facebook, give away my books on LinkedIn, give away my books on X. I have special codes for each one, and I will give people away periodically. If they want to download a free book, they can download a free book. Here's why I do that. It lets me know, because now I'm going to have contact with the reader or the listener in this case. I'm going to be able to say, oh, that population is listening to my book more often or more frequently. And that tells me something about whom I'm reaching in my book. How cool is that? So they could set up a code for anything that you do, whether you're speaking engagement, whatever it is, the code, and now you start interacting with the listener. It's really awesome. So listen, go to zoundy.com/J, ZOUNDY.com/JAY. Use my code J25, unlock the special savings. You're going to be so glad you did. I'm telling you, it's worth it. I love it. And they're just great. Check them out. Zoundy.com/J. Also, Linda Craft Team Realtors. Listen, I got a lot to say about them, but one of the things I will say is their website is unmatched. My opinion, I totally agree. Maybe I'm biased. Probably am. Don't have a problem being biased in this case, because I really believe, after looking at a lot of real estate websites, this is one of the most complete websites I've ever seen. Do you know? Sure, they got the listings and all the stuff that you see on all the websites. Do you know that they had a child psychologist write How to Move with Children? They had a veterinarian talk about how to move with pets, right? If they go the extra mile, there's so many things. You want to join the team, they have a way to join the team. You want to see the special events and what they're doing in the community, they have a way of looking at all sorts of things that you wouldn't even imagine. Vendors that they've used for decades that they still recommend, that they trust, right? I'm just telling you, it's a lot, but it's amazing. Check out lindacraft.com, LINDACRAFT.com. And we're back here on A New Direction with my friend, Jill Robin Payne, the book Bempathy: Simplified Communication by looking at the third side of the coin. We're going through the 6 C's of the key elements of Bempathy. We've talked about communication, commonality, and connectedness. If you're just joining us, go back to the last section. You'll get those 3. Let's talk about C number 4, Okay, let's try that again, Jay. Comfortability, which, by the way, my spell check did not like. But comfort, and clearly my tongue doesn't either. Comfortability. What are we saying here in terms of empathy about comfortability?
So that's one of the problems in our society right now, to sidetrack it, is that people want to stay comfortable and comfortable. Just what you said, I can't even say it. So we'll just sort of slide. Okay. In being comfortable is that you want to get uncomfortable to motivate you to be comfortable. That's pretty much it. So like I said, if I'm in a chair and I'm uncomfortable in my chair, it's going to motivate me to move. It's going to motivate me to get another chair. The problem in our society is we are staying in comfort
Oh,
and we're not moving.
oh,
And a lot of the people, I'm not going to say the percentage, are
right.
staying inside. I think they have a vitamin D deficiency, and I
Right.
think that's one of the reasons that they're depressed. I also think that if you are looking online so much and not being with people, you're not going to be as animated, so you're going to feel more blah. So I think all of that is really affecting our moods.
Mm.
And
And I think in terms of conflict and the banter and the empathy piece of this, the
yeah,
comfortability, I think to me is that we are going to have to practice a little deliberate discomfort
right,
in order to reach across the aisle or reach across the other side
right,
so that we can get more comfortable with each other
right.
or feel that there is a level of comfort of trust. At least that's how I interpret it from, Beacon, Brighton, and Bo. I mean, admittedly, they were twins, but there was a level of comfort where they could be open and honest with each other
Mm.
without hurting each other's feelings. Do I have that? Did I get that?
Yeah, and speaking of my characters that I love, I'm working on animating them. I have animated them on my website. I want to animate them myself because people don't really know what a leader is. I'm not going to say that. Wait, I erase that, y'all. Everyone knows what a leader is. My definition. Are you laughing because I'm such a psychotherapist?
Yes, yes. The fact that you just tried to erase something on the air was absolutely brilliant. So I'm leaving it in.
So, so it shows that I'm imperfect. Whenever I do something that's imperfect, I tell my clients, isn't it wonderful to know your therapist is imperfect?
I
Because,
love imperfection because
yeah,
I'm the king of it. So good.
well, then I guess I'm the queen of it. So anyway, getting back to my wonderful characters, I love my characters. Of course, I created them. Beacon, though, if you think about it, a lot of people in business will think of a leader as being a boss.
Mm,
So if you look at my beacon, Beacon is the beacon of light. He looks like a lighthouse. He even has a little necklace that's a
mhm,
lighthouse. And what does a lighthouse do? It gets you and it guides you to come towards that direction and miss them. It guides you to go where you should be going
mm,
by modeling an appropriate behavior. And so, what I love about that is it's an analogy. It gives people a visual so they can really grasp what a leader is. It's
mm,
not a boss. And matter of fact, a boss is a leader.
mm. They're a light.
And pardon?
They're a light.
Yes, that's it.
They're a light.
Yeah, a lighthouse. That's right.
Yeah, they're a light. They're a light to help find your way.
Exactly.
At least they should be.
Exactly. And I think that that's what I love about my characters because
They're
us, thank you, Beacon. And so the reason I did the characters is because I thought, you know what? Adults and humans and kids of all ages relate better. Go look it up and research
Yeah,
better to cartoon characters.
yeah.
Think of what are the famous cartoons characters that they have that are the shows that are for adults. What were
Oh
the
yeah,
one
yeah, right. Yeah. Well, we Simpsons are still around, I believe, right? And it's been
right,
going on almost 40 years.
right, The Simpsons, and then you had what was the other one where the kid looked like had a football head.
Oh yeah, Stewie.
Okay,
Uh,
you remember?
yeah,
Yeah,
Stewie. What was it? Was
yeah,
um something family? I can't remember what it is. Yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So we relate better with them because they're bigger than life.
yeah.
And also we're not competing with them. And that is how come I developed these characters. Also, they rhyme with Bempathy. and they represent what Bempathy is. You have a leader, you have a follower, and a compromiser. And that's all the personalities. There's no more personalities in the world. If
Right,
you have someone that's causing problems, they're a leader.
right.
So those are the personalities. And if you know what you are, this book helps you by following those characters. I think a lot of us are all of them at some time or another.
I agree.
And we just need to know who we are at that time, and then we know how to present ourselves.
I could not agree more. I thought the same thing when I read through these characters, that at any given time I could be any one of them.
Right.
So we've done communication, commonality, connectedness, comfortability.
Yeah.
What do you mean by control as a C?
Well, I'm a woman. Come on. Oh, I'm just.
I am not touching that. I'm not going anywhere near it. I'm leaving that one alone.
Oh no! And then the people out there are going to say women are not that way.
I'm gonna you pulled out the shovel. I'm gonna let you keep digging. So you go ahead.
Oh, you know what? What we're doing, and I want everyone to know that this is Bempathy. So Bempathy is if you talk about hard or deep subjects all the time, it's tiring. And we need to be a little bit more lighthearted. Now, some of us can't take it, and you need to feel that person out, how they're going to be. We need to be able to banter, and that's exactly whoever watches this episode. I'm hoping, you have people that watch it. You are so good. Yeah, you're so good at your speeches. I wish I could talk as fast as you, and you're awesome. Really, and your brain must work very fast. So yeah, very good at. I could see you've been on radio. Yes,
actually, how this all started was somebody gave me a segment called the Internet Doctor segment for about 2 years.
Yes,
and I had my own 15-minute segment on the social media star of the day. Social media is stupid.
Wow. Yeah,
and they gave me 15 minutes on their show. And then one day he told me, you need to start your own show. And that's
there you go.
That's how it started. So back to control. What are we trying to control here? Or are we trying to control anything?
Oh, I think we need to be aware of that. And I think that, haven't you ever heard, I feel out of control? What happens when people feel or think? Notice I said feel or think they are out of control. What happens to those people? I'm asking your audience. If you hear someone say they feel like they're out of control, I don't know about you, but I might want to leave the room or help them in some way. Yeah. So the word is very important.
So it's self-control too is involved in there.
It's pretty deep, and that's why people need to really get the book to really understand the concept of all of these, because it's not as simple as, just like you said when we started with communication. It's deeper than that. And that's how come I keep telling your audience, your wonderful audience, by the way, that it's the dynamics. And so we need to really step back and see the big picture. And also think of the consequence. If you want a win-win, I have something else that I say to people, and you might like this. My parents one of my parents, my father died, and my mom's in her 90s. And when you get old, you really see how hard life is, because I don't mean to get graphic, wiping your butt and brushing your teeth becomes work. It's work. So I've decided, and I'm sure the world knows, life is hard. Why not make it fun? And that's what Bempathy is about. Make it fun.
I love that, because I don't think we have enough fun in the world. I think we take everything way too seriously. I think the reason that we can't get along is because we can't laugh at each other, and we're insulted at every turn instead of either learning from it and laughing at it.
Sure.
Can you give me a quick overview of commitment in the Bempathy process, the final C?
Commitment is we committed to meet, we met, we succeeded, we had a great time, and we went and did our podcast together, or your podcast. So that's a perfect example of we committed. You sent something to me, you followed me up and made sure that I was going to do this. I emailed you back, and none of this waiting, and it had a flow to it. So when you're committing, it's big. You want to flow. You want people to feel connected during the whole process, the whole dynamics. There you go. It's a dance.
It is a dance, and it's a fun dance. And I've had a fun dance with you today.
Thank you so much. You're so wonderful.
This has
Thank
been a
you.
lot. This has been a lot of
Thank
fun
you.
for me.
Thank you.
Book, everybody, Bempathy. Simplify communication by looking at the third side of the coin.
Yes.
Jill, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you if they want to get more information or they just want to buy
Sure.
a stack of these to take with for their team.
Sure, I would love. I just had a company buy a bunch of them for their people. So just go to my website, jillrobinpayne.com. I'm on the platforms at jillrobinpayne.com, Jill Robin Payne. Also go to Amazon, and then my meeting people is on audio, on all the audios.
Okay,
And so there you go.
there it
And
is.
please email me. I will email you back. If I do not email you back with at least a smile, I did not get the email.
Okay. It's true. I can tell you that she puts
Yes.
she puts her little thing.
Oh,
See that I have one. I have one. I have one on
yeah.
my email. Folks, it's the show. You know what I say to you every week. You're in control of three things: your attitude, your effort, and your resiliency. Fact of the matter is, life is not always fair. It doesn't always give us what we want. But you know what? You have control of your attitude. You can make it positive if you choose to. Didn't say it was easy, but it is in your control. Choose your attitude today. And you know what? Your effort, right, which you're in control of, is tied to your excellence. We don't always have the same amount of gas in the tank, but we can choose to be how excellent we can be with what we have. Choose excellence. And your resilience, which is in your control, we're all going to get punched in the gut or punched in the teeth and get knocked down, but it's up to you to get back up. And you know what? We need you to get back up. You know why? Because we need you on the team and you're worth it. So get back up, be resilient. I want to just thank everybody for watching the show. You know what? You had a lot of choices. You chose us. Thank you for doing that. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube, wherever you listen to the show by podcast. You know what? Write us a 5-star positive review. Tell your friends. That would be fantastic. And you know what? As I say to you all over the world, you know what that is? Ciao, everybody.